Hello, everybody. Welcome to a feel-good race, right? This is one of those, like, Goodwill Hunting, one of those races that everybody, regardless of what fandom you are, except Ferrari, can actually enjoy the way that this race ended. No, I'm kidding. You guys could probably do it too, because Sir Hamilton has won this one. He's officially beaten Michael Schumacher's record. Mr. Hamilton has won 9 races in a single circuit, which is the first time in history. And here to break down the Silverstone Grand Prix, we've got Canadian Dave and German Dave. How are you, gentlemen?
Very well.
I can't.
You know what? He's lying. He's lying to you guys.
Dude, I can't believe that I'm in this position, man. My
guy.
Well,
tell us.
My guy
tell
finally
real,
won. My guy won finally a race after 945 days.
But in the background, you're still distraught inside. You're torn.
I'm not torn at all. I bought the Spain jersey so I can print Morata on it
because
he's my guy.
He's just completely ignoring the fact that Germany is eliminated from the Euros, but that's okay. We're not here to talk about footy tonight.
I'm still happy. In my opinion, we will always be the second best team in this tournament. It doesn't matter who wins.
Just like Ferrari, always second best. Okay, absolutely. Guys.
Mine, it's like 15 positions, right?
Okay, before we get into the banter, you guys have to like and subscribe. Just hit it. We're going to get into it. This is another insane race where everything happened all throughout. There is no boring moments, really. So after you hit that like, subscribe, and you get into the Discord, because that's where all the good conversations happen. Do that. And without further ado, guys, gentlemen, let's take this from qualifying.
Yeah,
there's nothing exciting too much. But yeah, let's get into it.
Perez. Q1 summed up Perez.
Yeah. Okay. Perez. So yeah, Perez.
Does he have a car still?
Check on my guy, man. Check on my guy. Look, what was the stat of over the last 5 races? His average position was 12.5, and with this race, I don't know what to say.
We need to give
him his. Man, it's disturbing.
We got to give him his flowers, because if it wasn't for Perez, then we wouldn't have a competition for the constructor build. Let's keep it on. Actually, Perez is doing the Lord's work. The reason why is because it would have, if he was 1 and 2 with Max, the season would be over by now.
If he would be 1 and 10 with Max, they would be leading
by a lot.
Crazy.
I told you, Perez is doing the Lord's work. He's sitting there thinking, how can I make this a little more entertaining?
Yeah.
Though I do think it might be a little bit more entertaining than what Red Bull is bargaining for.
That's crazy. And Ferrari all of a sudden not being able to get all their cars into Q3 as well.
There's a bit to talk about with Ferrari. They're at a known state, let's say, which is not a great state, but they're at a known state. So from what we understand of them is they went back to their older spec. They were testing out the older spec before they got all this purposing. They're kind of trying to go back to ground zero a little bit and work back from there. So they're sacrificing a bit of performance right now to try to sort out their car for maybe the future. That being said,
so what's the issue with the car, Dave? Like what are they? Because like, for example, it's Leclerc hasn't had power in his vehicle and has been struggling for the last 3 races. Like ever since Monaco, Leclerc has fallen off a cliff.
It's something to do with the floor, the amount of downforce they're generating. So you saw it a bit today. So Sainz, not today, I guess this weekend, Sainz and Leclerc were kind of working different specs throughout the week, and that's why you always saw this split. You even saw the split, obviously, in qualifying and in the race. So exactly what's going on, we don't know. They're never going to tell us precisely, but something with their upgrade just caused, like they're clearly trying to get more downforce, but you get too much downforce at a certain point where now you just create that porpoising. We touched on it last week.
Yeah,
they're just trying to go the other way because at a certain point, your car just has to not bounce off the track. Right? Yep. Like you're going to be slower. It doesn't matter if you're faster in a straight line. If you can't take that corner, I mean, that's why we're watching F1 and not drag racing, right?
Look, to me, it is evident, with our theory, with the porpoising and everything, that they went into a direction that got them too much downforce, and they have to sacrifice straight line speed. So they have to run more drag, because the best evidence, in my opinion, is the last race, the Austrian GP, which is a like it has a high full throttle. Yeah, man. Sorry, my English is leaving me. A big part of the track is just going full throttle, and that is because of the engine, one of Ferrari's biggest strengths. And for them to not be good in that race was, for me, an indicator that they have sacrificed something with their straight line speed.
And yeah, that was definitely a Ferrari track. And Silverstone is full throttle too, most of it.
Yeah, I was going to say this would also, because when I was watching qualifying, I was thinking, I'm like, Silverstone's they're windy, but it's not hard turns or anything tight like that. So I was thinking
there's two like heavy braking zones on that track. A lot of it is like even just gearing down. Once you like those high speed turns, you're honestly just like letting off the gas, letting it down from 8th into 5th for like a second, and then smashing the gas again, and getting back into 8th.
Yeah, and it's
insane.
like you said, right? 2 brake zones out of 18 turns.
And to go the other way, a team that has done it better is Mercedes, for example, because Mercedes' weakness were the high speed corners and the straight line speed. And for them to have a good result in Austria and on these tracks, number one, it means that they got their high speed cornering speed like on point now, or at least improved it by a lot. And also they're just quicker on the straight, because you see it in their qualifying pace. So Mercedes overall seems to finally have gotten rid of the big problems that plagued them, and Ferrari went the other direction basically.
Well, you can tell. I mean, this was the first time in F1 history that we had 3 English, British, UK racers all finishing in the top 3. It could have been, we'll get that when we actually get into the actual race itself. Unfortunately for Mr. Russell, who, by the way, his guest of honor was Rowan Atkinson, who was Mr. Bean. So George Russell brought him into the race. But it was a pretty. Q3 was actually pretty damn good. I did not expect.
By the way, there's a fun fact on Rowan Atkinson. I believe the stat is every race that Rowan Atkinson has been in the pit box of the team that Hamilton races for, he won that race, and he was there today.
So are they going to bring him for every race now?
Don't stretch it too much, Dash.
But we can round out. So pole is George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri. So that is your big 6, and the faster Ferrari with Nico Hülkenberg as
another great weekend.
Great weekend for Haas. I guess the real Ferrari is in Haas right now. So Carlos Sainz. I think Carlos Sainz has to pick up the pace if he wants to find a chair for next season. I mean, he's still. It's still kind of crazy that Carlos has not found a seat for next.
The rumors are changing, like from team to team, like from week to week for him. Like the newest rumor this week was that he's close to Alpine now that Flavio Briatore is back as a team consultant, whatever that means. Which means he has kind of full power in the team to make decisions now.
Do you think Carlos goes to a big 3? To the big 3?
I don't know.
He was even linked back up with Mercedes again.
Yep.
Like it's insane. He's everywhere. He's going to be driving for every team that has a seat before like anything becomes official.
Oh, it's great. We don't know anything right now. We still, like, it's the rumor mill in football, like, until you see something official, like, everything can collapse, everything can still happen. So
but the latest is Alpine. Like, is that
this is Alpine? But
as soon as I hear that, though, I'm like, no, it makes no sense. Like,
yeah, but also,
who would want to play or play a drive for that team?
But the problem is, Dave, that look, he was rumored to Williams already, to Haas already. to the Alfa Romeo already, to Williams already. So it's the 4 slowest teams, and he has been ruled out by those. So now you're with. Have I mentioned Alpine? I haven't yet.
I don't want to mention Alpine because they're the team that everyone wants to hate, not because they hate them in particular, it's because it's like there's nothing to like about this, the current iteration. Nobody likes them.
I fully agree with you. But the problem is if you don't have a seat for like inside of the Red Bull, like Red Bull. For example, Red Bull has Verstappen tied up. Supposedly Perez is tied up, but
no, there's performance clauses.
The Lord knows. Yeah, there are, but
I read today his performance clauses was that he has to stay within 5 positions of the drivers' championship and 100 points. Sorry, within 100 points in the drivers' championship and within 5 places in the race.
Okay,
that's what they want, like the standard.
Well,
to be. And clearly that's not being.
Well, he's missing that mark since 2 months, and is still within that time frame. He got his contract extension. So,
all right, quick. Like this is, I don't know. Maybe I'll get comments. This is my theory. I don't know if this is hot take or what, but Ricardo and Perez, they're gonna swap. I've always said like Perez, they probably just locked him in because he can go down to V-carb. He's still a decent enough driver. Throw him in V-carb. They got Yuki. They got Danny Rick. One of those can go up. Try it out. Worst case. Now in terms of Carlos, man, they just signed Behrman. Behrman is a Ferrari junior.
Yeah.
Haas, has that. Yep. They buy parts, engines off of Ferrari. They're a Ferrari team.
Yep.
And then Tomoyatsu, the principal of Haas this weekend after signing Behrman, was asked, are they going to go for somebody young or get some experience? He's like, yes, we need somebody that has experience. Why not have a multiple race winner on like fairly frequently on the podium too? He was on the podium last weekend. This Carlos Sainz, he drives for Ferrari. He's got experience.
But for now, it seems like, for example, the Haas is out of the question because Haas is, according to some journalists now, not just rumors that are surfacing within the internet. Haas seems to be very close to have signed Esteban Ocon for next season, for example.
No, it's insane. It's insane. No, I'm not buying it. I told you that's my theory. It's crazy, but that's what I'm going with.
All right. Hey, let's go for it. No, for now, my opinion is still that we don't know. I think he's trying with every team, and he didn't want to sign up yet with one of the backmarker teams because he has hopes that Mercedes will decide, for example, against Antonelli, or that Red Bull will decide against Perez. So he's still trying to have a chance for those seats, and therefore hasn't yet signed up for one of the other teams. But let's see what's happening.
We will see. It's very interesting, and that's how interesting we can just. It's so interesting. We were talking about the race, and then we went right into the driver market. So
it's a podcast, so
we're allowed to. Yes, no, it's not. That's where it's at.
Yeah,
that's where
we were still with qualifying, so we can jump into.
Yeah, qualifying. Okay, let's. So other than Perez spinning out, a bit of rain that got better throughout.
Yep.
We saw that the other big note was Leclerc couldn't get that 10th final spot into Q3.
No.
Yep.
Nope. And that
not quick enough.
And you thought that was the end of his bad weekend.
I was going to say, and you think it gets uphill from there. No, it doesn't. So, are we ready? Ready to break this down? This bad boy down? All right. So, with Russell essentially starting this race in pole, this was an interesting race, more so when we're looking at it, right? Because multiple weather shifts, right? So in the morning it was pouring, and then once race started, it was clear, sunny skies, and then we had a bit of a drizzle. So there was just a bunch of changes, more so, right? So we can kick the sucker off, right? So despite looking quick, Verstappen just didn't have enough time to essentially finish this at the end. But
there was 2 Verstappens in this race. Two different versions of them.
Really?
Well, the slow one at the first half of the race, and the fast one getting like fastest laps at the end of the race.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like two different guys out there today.
Oh, absolutely. But there's a pattern to all those matters. There was also to make basically two different Norrises and two different Piastris.
There was only one hammer time.
Yeah, there was only one hammer time. Yep.
I mean, he technically rolled the clock back for this one, no?
Yep. Yeah, but I have thoughts and everything on those.
All right, so let's break it down as it happened, right? So ahead of the event, for folks wondering why did Perez start far back? Perez started in the pit lane due to the new engine that was fitted. So he originally qualified for P19, but breaching the rule in Q1, so essentially towards the end with Gasly. So
yeah, and by the way, Gasly took a 50-place grid penalty because he basically changed everything on the car that was possible.
Yeah, it was not good at all.
And in the end, wasn't even able to start the race.
Yeah, he essentially just had to dive right back into the pits right at the formation lap.
Yeah, and it should be noted, just because it didn't matter how bad Perez did in qualifying, because I mean he went right through the gravel. Because he did so much damage and they had to do work on the car, they actually took the car out of Parc Fermé. So he also started from the pit lane for that. That's specifically why he did that. Yeah. So I mean, that's another reason not to crash into qualifying, because even if you put a time up, that time probably isn't going to matter much.
Yeah. Moral of the story: don't fuck your car up.
Yeah, don't fuck it up.
So the race after the formation lap race kicks off. Mr. Russell with a great, nice, strong start. Norris ironically went off the track a little bit, giving Verstappen enough to sweep into P3. Hulkenberg dropped back from 6th to 9th, while Leclerc, I said Leclerc climbed up to 8th. Following,
it actually doesn't matter. He said it
Oh.
was actually asked. And he's like, whatever, man, whatever works. So
I just
drive. You're good on this one.
I just drive. I don't care. So Russell and Hamilton started to get a decent gap with Verstappen there. Ladder was warned over the radio. So this is where the race got a little bit juicy right at the beginning, right? So I was watching it too, and then you hear it was on. I think it was on the Hamilton radio on the broadcast where they said rain in 25 minutes. So that's where things got a little bit juicy.
All right. Before we go into that one, do you want to go through some things that happened up until there?
Yeah,
because like ridiculous pit stops.
Also, but at first, immediately on turn 3, my question to you guys: do you think Norris is way too eager?
I think so.
Oh yeah,
because
he's overly aggressive.
Well, remember the first time you got laid, and then that's all you were thinking of for like the next 7 days. Yep. That's basically what's happening to Norris right now.
Yep. No, but I think he's trying too much. In my opinion, for example, the both Mercedeses had a very good start, but in turn 3 he tried to go on the outside of Hamilton in a corner that carries the inside car almost like towards the curb there, so he naturally was ran off track, had back traction, came back onto the track, but was easily overtaken by Verstappen. So that lost him a position because he didn't bite his time for the right opportunity and tried too much, in my opinion. And can this behavior still hurt him, or will he learn from this one today? Because do you remember we had the talk last week also that we think it's good that he let the tiger out on Verstappen, but
there's too much.
He has also to channel it at sometimes at least, because he was already in front of Verstappen in this race, so he didn't have to go all in immediately.
Well, there's definitely a lot of emotions. It's both of them. Well, there's 3 guys home's race there, but particularly Lando, wanted to get that home win against Verstappen. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotions between being the home race and what happened last weekend. He's probably just completely charged up.
Do you think
not to make the excuse, but he's probably chubbing throughout the whole race there, losing a bit of blood flow, if you know what I mean.
The question is, though, do you think that, for example, the rain was playing a factor into it? Maybe he was trying to be aggressive, gain some position before he had to switch tires?
No, the problem is, and I will get a little bit even more in depth into that, because of tire behavior, which car is good on which in which track condition, basically, because we saw 3 teams that were good in 3 different track situations, basically. And I think that he should have bitten his time a bit, because the McLaren was clearly the faster car on the more slippery, a bit more colder track surface, because the McLaren gets his tires heated up very quickly. So he had the chance, like if he just like waited for the first couple of corners until everything settled down a little bit, and then like overtook them one by one. But he didn't do that, and he was stuck behind Verstappen until a point we will get into as well.
But speaking of being behind Verstappen, Sainz had his chance. Leclerc had a chance to get it behind Stroll. That was actually just part of today's race, is that you better bring it, because if you can't charge down those DRS zones, or just yeet it into a corner under the wet conditions, you're gonna get stuck.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Other than the insanity that ensued up front, which we'll get into it, like there was a lot of just getting parked up behind dudes, and track surface is a rough one. You keep on pushing, those tires fall off, and all of a sudden you're losing time.
Yep.
So a couple instances of that today.
Yeah, and as far as, like, for example, I think the first pit happened on lap 13, right, where Zhao became the first driver to swap to the medium tire. Well, that actually gave, because Leclerc was actually kind of moving a bit, right? So he got into P7 at that point, allowing Ferrari to start chasing down, so he can start chasing Sainz a little bit. But up ahead, Norris was eating into Verstappen's gap around that point, and I'm trying to see if I can get to the point where we get into the rain, because that's where it got interesting.
Before we get into that, just on the Norris point, because I have written it down like kind of in detail as well. Lap 15 was when the track surface got slippery as well. It was not like wet, so to say, but it was a very slippery track at that time. And there you saw the difference, for example, in that specific track situation, that the McLaren in that situation was quicker than the Red Bull, because of how quickly like he managed to go and overtake Verstappen. Basically, Norris overtook him immediately on lap 15. That is 2 laps after the first pit stops happened. So to get quicker tires that get heat quicker into them. But Norris, still on the older tires, was quicker and had more heat in his tires than Verstappen in front of him. And both McLarens overtook Verstappen. Norris on 15 and Piastri on lap 17. That, for me, 100% looks like McLaren had the advantage in those track, on those track conditions.
So I just have the pit summary here. You see a bit of an anomaly here, right? Zhou comes in on the 12th. Leclerc and Perez coming in on the 19th for inters. Ocon, apparently he did 2 that nobody noticed. Zhou coming in again because his tires were gone. Ocon coming in the 21st because it's like, oh shit, I need inters now. And this is really what changed things. These guys coming in early.
Yeah.
Semi-dry track, it needs to be all the way wet for inters, or you kill those tires. So this is the rest of the pack. 26th, 27th lap, they all come in. Look at them all. Piastri finally in the 28th. They get a couple, right? Perez again. So there's the anomaly that everyone that lapped pitted early finished. I mean, the only people that did worse than them were the 2 that didn't finish.
Do you know what is ironic? What started those pit stops on lap 19? Yes, Joe on lap 12 is out of conversation. Like, it was, I don't know why they called them, so forget that one. But on lap 19 was where both Mercedes went off behind each other in the same corner. That was lap 19 as well, and then all the other teams saw, oh shit, it's getting really slippery out there, and that's when they did the tire change. Meanwhile, the other guys still stayed out, because you could still gotten performance out of your slicks, basically. For example, Hamilton was able to overtake Russell. So Hamilton, again, I will get into it even deeper, but his tire management today, it's like all the way back to 2021. Like,
oh yeah, he was locked in.
Crazy. Today, when he's like had the sniff of a chance to win this race, like he was again today, in my opinion, magical. like how he had control of the tires. In the car, by the way, that an overall pace was the third fastest car today. And he still managed to get that win.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting, right? Because by lap 20, he was essentially told that it might be time for intermediates, but he chose not to. So Hamilton didn't want to go for the intermediates, wanted to keep on going. And it's and it's like split second decisions like that ends up winning races, right? Because sometimes you don't need the faster car, you just need to know how to drive it, and just drive the vehicle properly, know your car.
And that was also still the moment where the McLarens were the quickest cars because they had their tires heated it up quickly, because Hamilton, for example, got overtaken by both McLarens as well, like after each other. I think Norris one lap and Piastri immediately the lap after, and that's when we had the Norris, Piastri, Hamilton, Russell lineup at the front, basically. And we will get into it on lap 27, where Piastri got kind of screwed by strategy.
Yeah, and then just a little bit earlier before then. So some of the drivers that did those earlier changes were pissed off because the track was still way too dry for what they put on.
It was a flinch. Right? It was definitely a flinch. And I think where Red Bull and Ferrari were coming, it's like, okay, we got a couple fast drivers at the back. Let's get Ferrari's gambles. They should not go to the casino, Ferrari. Like they
no. Oh God, please! Stay away of betting on something as far as you can.
Like, Perez is one thing. Red Bull made an amazing strategy with Max at the second pits, but like they totally screwed over Perez.
Dave, also the first pit stop by Max, he came in on lap 26 and undercut all the other teams. They undercut the Mercedes and the McLarens. He came in a lap earlier and won the undercut on George Russell. He was still behind the others, but Red Bull managed to get him in front of Russell. For example, and that was on lap 26, and the other ones then came on to lap 27. Came in on lap 27, and Piastri then got screwed because he came in at lap 28. And I calculated the gap and the time that he lost, so that will get interesting as well.
So, but this is the interesting thing, right? When you have a split strategy, in the case where Red Bull and Ferrari did, they have a completely different idea what the back runner is going to do as compared to the front runner, because there's such a big difference in between the two. What McLaren was trying to avoid now, because both Mercedes and McLaren had both their drivers up there, if they came to the pits, they would have to double pit. So what is going to be quicker? Double pitting, the back driver losing 3 seconds in the lineup, or do they gamble, keep him out in the slippery conditions? He now has to slow down. Was he going to slow down less than 3 seconds a lap? In this case, yes. So there's another driver from another team, not as bad, but he also got screwed today.
Yep. And now we can also put it like immediately next to each other. So Verstappen on lap 26 was exactly the right moment, because at that point the intermediate got quicker than the soft tires. So he made the time up on the other cars in front, but so for example, Mercedes opted for the double stack, but for them the timing was nearly picture perfect because Russell was 2.5 seconds behind Hamilton, so they could afford it. The pit stops were kind of slow, both around 3 seconds, so Russell lost about a second maybe in the pits, with the coming in having to be a bit slower until Hamilton's finished. But overall, it was good to finish both cars off in 6 seconds and send them back out on track. Norris came also in that exact lap where the Mercedes came in, so he was also safe from Verstappen's undercut, and he also had a kind of a bigger gap behind Norris and Hamilton, for example. So Piastri continued 1 lap. He was 0.5 of a second behind Norris when Norris came in on lap 27. He finished 1 lap and came in around 15 seconds behind Norris.
So clearly the math.
The 1 lap, that 1 lap costed him 15 seconds.
Yeah, and then he's back fighting again, right? So it's all these little strategy decisions. And again, why is rain so exciting, especially when it comes mid-race?
Exactly
Remember how Monaco last year was actually exciting because there was just mid-race rain that went away and dried up, and it was a strategy race at this point. It didn't matter who the fastest guy on any given lap was. It's who's not going to be dumb today. Who's going to make the right decision?
Absolutely. Yeah, and Mercedes took the decision to we will lose the undercut to Verstappen, but we have to get George in right now because we can continue a lap more. And McLaren took the gamble the other way. George in the end, yes, he lost the position to Verstappen, but he lost only that one position, and Piastri fell back onto behind Sainz at that moment. He was in to sixth position because then Russell retired.
Well, I mean, at least you're not Leclerc, right? I mean, Leclerc went off track and his car was just fucked.
Well, because he was on, I think it was 5 laps on a semi-dry track on intermediates at that point. Like his tire, they showed Perez, they didn't show Leclerc's tires, but Perez's tires were ribboning off. Like just the rubber.
Yeah, you saw it in the slow-mo. It was crazy how they just were. Dude, that looked crazy. Like they literally just ripped. Were ripped apart the tires.
You need very cool temperatures, and you even saw it too as the track was drying off. That the drivers were going off the racing line to get water onto their tires to keep them cool. Because it was faster to go off the line and keep your tires cool than just like burning out your tires.
Yeah. And after that, the next like 10 laps were kind of slow. We had the George Russell retirement on lap 34, and that
came out of nowhere.
That came absolutely out of nowhere.
As I guess mechanical failures do. Yeah. But who would have expected that?
Happened? I didn't, because Mercedes, at least in the last couple of years, reliability was always amazing with them.
And just locked in this weekend.
Yeah. No, that was very unfortunate for him because he was also very quick. Like 100%, he would have been on for a podium as well. Like he would be in that fight with the other ones as well.
Well, he would have kept Verstappen back, maybe.
He would be a cushion in between, somewhere in that region with Norris and Verstappen, 100%. He would have helped at least in some capacity, I believe. But it's unfortunate for him, in my opinion, that happened. So he retired on lap 34, and in lap 39 we had the next round of pit stops because the track was drying up.
It was it was really dry, actually. There was weather on the radar, and the drivers were like, "Bro, it's not raining. It's dry. Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, and I think this is where I think McLaren might have lost P2 was this pit stop.
The second bad call. So the second bad call again. Hamilton and Verstappen came in the same lap. Hamilton went to the soft tires, and Verstappen onto the hard tires. And we can still argue which one was the better strategy. If you go towards the soft tire and manage it to the end, or you go onto towards the hard tire and go full beans, like for the last stint. And those were the different philosophies. And it was also evident that McLaren didn't know what to do, because they asked Norris what he wants rather to do. Does he want to go towards a softer tire and go the Hamilton direction and manage it towards the end and try to fight him 1v1 on track, or go the Verstappen road and go towards a harder tire and just go full beans? So they didn't know themselves what to do 100%, in my opinion.
Didn't they have another medium compound?
The only people that did was the McLarens, yes.
So why
everyone else had to make the decision?
That's interesting, right? Why didn't they just go to medium? Because like if you think about it, right, when we get to it in the end, it was more so that like Lando had to give it up because his tires couldn't hold anymore.
I think Piastri went on the medium. Lando, I think, was going the aggressive.
Lando went on the soft as well. I believe he did the Hamilton strategy, I believe. But again,
that's why, right?
And also 1 lap later, so Hamilton and Verstappen got the undercut on him. So they won time on him while he raced 1 lap more on the intermediate on a drying track.
And that's really where the strategy comes in as well, right? Is it worth doing that extra lap on intermediates? How much slower are you? Do you put softs on over hards? Now we saw with the Max ripping hards. Sainz, I mean, maintains. He slowed down a little bit behind Piastri on the softer compound, a little bit, which is expected. So he maintains Sainz, but Verstappen on hards.
That was ballsy.
Norris.
Yeah,
that was ballsy.
Yep. Yep.
But you think about it though, right? The Red Bulls are more accustomed to handling the hard tires than they would be with softs and
does
mediums.
well on hard. Well, here's the thing: is those softs when they drop off,
Absolutely.
they drop off.
And that is why, in my opinion, you saw the difference between what Hamilton did on the soft tire to what Norris did. Number one, Hamilton entire management is incredible. That is one of his best strengths, like overall in his arsenal. And Norris still has to learn that, in my opinion, and Max is good on that as well, but he didn't have to think about that in this race. He had the hard tire for, what was it, 13 laps? He came in on lap 39. So he had it for 13 laps, and he could go full beans on a fresh hard tire. And the track was still kind of cold, so you can't overheat the hard tire in those conditions as well. So you had it right in the right temperature window.
It's pretty much like a medium compound,
Norris,
right?
Yep. And meanwhile, like Norris couldn't take care of those softs, because if you go one lap too quick on those tires, or you go, I don't know, you have a drift or just a minimal correction in your driving, you overheat the soft tire and it's gone, and you lost all the performance. And it looked to me like Norris was fighting with his tire management, while Max didn't have to care about that. And in addition to that, like, he came into the pits number one a lap later than the others, so they won time on him. And then he had the slow stop because he overshot his pit box as well. And the front jackman had to readjust the jack, and the pit stop was 4.5 seconds. Ironically, exactly those 2.5 seconds he took more were the ones that lost him the lead to Hamilton, because Hamilton came out 2.5 seconds in front of him. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Small margins, I love it.
These small margins. We mentioned it at last podcast as well. It's crazy. These small margins. What can win and lose your race? Yeah. And that's where Hamilton came out in front of him after the pit stops, and Verstappen was behind him on a fresh, already one lap heated hard tire, basically.
I mean, I love that strategy. Throw the hards on Max's car and just tell him to give her shit. Go be Max for 13 laps, whatever it was. Go.
Yeah.
And it worked.
And
it was amazing.
It worked, absolutely.
Love it.
After the bad stop, also, Verstappen was 6.4 seconds behind Norris when Norris was on the track. So, and he overtook him on lap 48, which means that he won 0.8 per lap on Norris, which is absolutely crazy. On a harder tire.
Insane.
It's incredible.
It was
I calculated the times. He was 0.8 of a second quicker per lap than Norris when he overtook him on lap 48. Crazy.
It just worked out. The strategy, again, tire temperatures, the amount of laps left. Like the Reds were not a horrible option. It's just Max on those hards, and now you have Lando trying to push his laps, wearing his tires more, which is actually going to cost him in the end even more.
Because you have to defend as well on a softer tire that is going off easier. Yeah, it's hard. He was in a bad situation because of the small mistakes that happened throughout the race. But
alas, not enough for Max, maybe given another couple laps, perhaps.
I think absolutely, because I also calculated the time that Max made up he was 5 laps. He was trying to catch Hamilton. He made in those laps 1.6 seconds, and he was 1.4 seconds behind Hamilton on the finish line. So
1.46. That's nuts. I mean,
that's incredible. How
another
close it was.
2 laps, you
With
get into
1 or
DRS.
2 laps, he would have gotten him 100%.
Oh man,
He was so much quicker than Hamilton and Norris at that point.
And then look, Norris 7.5. So he just opened up the gap. The can opener. That's all you can say.
And by the way, Piastri's lap times were incredible. Piastri had the medium tire, and Piastri, it wasn't mentioned in the live TV coverage because he was in P4 kind of for himself, but he drove the same lap times that Max drove on those hard tires.
Yeah, they were pretty
Piastri
close.
was incredible as well. It just wasn't mentioned because he wasn't in for the fight for the win.
It was one of those races they couldn't catch. There's another thing I had missed until I looked back at the stats afterwards. We'll get into that in just a second. But Piastri, and that was really the beauty of the mediums, because 13, 14 laps is well within the window for the mediums as well. Absolutely. To just give her. But Max didn't have mediums; he only had hards, but it's also just Max. So
agreed.
But yeah, good for Piastri. But yeah, Hamilton holding on for that win at the end of the day. Not too much drama over the finish line, but just a fight throughout. You really had no idea.
From start to
leaders, you had Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri all at the top of the order at some point in today's race.
At the start, you had Russell. Piastri was quicker than Norris in this race, in my opinion. Piastri was screwed by the strategy in this race specifically. Piastri was quicker than Norris.
And just to give a shout, like what would have happened? Sainz almost had an overtake on Verstappen, and then he didn't make the take and drop back. Leclerc almost had the take on Stroll, but couldn't do it either. He made one lunge. Like, what would have happened, hypothetically now, if the Ferraris made their pass and gone to the mix as well? Like that, the fact that we just completely ignored the Ferraris today for the most part, and we still have all this excitement. It just goes to show what's happening to the sport right now.
And also the gap. Look, the Ferrari's performance really worries me, because these tracks and these conditions are the ones where they should be fast.
But they knew that they were taking a step back. I
agree. I agree with you there, and I hope they find a solution, because if their performance currently is close to this one, it's not looking good, because these 35 seconds that Sainz came in behind Piastri were on merit. And that worries me. And look, the Ferraris are always quick on the rain because they can heat up their tires quickly, which the Haas did, for example, in this weekend. And it's a high-speed track, which is Ferrari's strength. Sainz won that race last season.
Let's take a step back here. If we go pit stop summary, they did not cover this. Right at the bottom, lap 50.
I forgot that for the
fastest laps. Carlos Sainz. He picks up the extra point.
You're right.
He was only about 12 seconds back, being on the hards compared to the mediums. It wasn't as bad, guys. Come on, be easy on Ferrari.
Right. No, that's on me. I forgot it. Yeah, you're right.
But like that was the stat that I missed when I came back, because they did not cover it. It was hammer time, guys. Nobody cared about Carlos at this point.
No, you're right. I completely forgot it. The German TV coverage thought that Sainz is retiring because he came into the pits that late into the race, and then he took soft tires and got the fastest. No, you're right. I completely forgot that.
Yeah. So I mean, is it that bad? You have to look at Mercedes. They were in a very similar spot a year ago.
Yeah.
What I like to see now, obviously being a Ferrari fan, I'd like to see Ferrari to actually get back and fight for that second, third fastest. Not maybe we fourth fastest now. Not too sure. Not being able to pass Lance Stroll. That's a little questionable, right? But we saw McLaren do it. Red Bull's been doing it. Merck's figured it out. I mean, even Aston Martin made their push. We are in a season where every weekend now might be a different situation, a completely different race. And who knows, Hungaroring in a couple weeks, slow track. Even if it's a bit cooler out
For
too,
example,
this might
should be a Mercedes strength again, Aston Martin strength. One of those
be.
a bit slower draggier cars that are good on slow speed corners. So I'm
we
so
don't know.
excited, man.
We might
I'm
have
so
Yuki.
excited.
Yuki might be like dropping
Yeah.
in 6th place in a couple weeks,
Yeah.
right? Like that, it's just such a different track, and things evolve every single week.
The season is so much fun, man.
We're only
It's so
halfway
much
through.
fun. And we only exactly.
Only halfway through. It's amazing. I'm loving it. Even though my team isn't doing the greatest right now, that's okay. The racing is amazing. It's giving us all something to be excited about. It's all over the place.
It's beautiful.
But those are the race results. Anyways, you got Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Alonso, Albon, Tsunoda. I mean, shout out to Haas again. Sargent, Magnussen, Ricardo, Leclerc, and 14. At least he got Bottas. He passed Bottas in the final lap as well. So for what it's worth, he made like 30 seconds up on Bottas. All right. So like there's still some pace in that car.
There's hope.
Ocon, Perez,
great
Russell,
there, quicker than the kicks over.
Anyways, Gasly, we didn't even say he had a DNS after the formation lap. He came right into the pits and retired. Russell, of course, water cooling issues, DNF. But Perez, I mean, right there in the +2 lap zone with Zhou and Ocon. So good for you, Perez.
He's, like I said, he's doing the Lord's work. He's making the constructor build competitive.
It is
competitive. You know what? It's a let's get.
Do you want a fun fact now that we went through the race results? So Lewis Hamilton 104 races of 343 race starts. He hasn't won a race in nearly 3 years. Remember that one. And his winning percentage is still 30%, which is crazy, man.
It's taken a dip as of late, but
it's because of the last 3 years, but it's incredible that
over time,
still, and
nuts.
104 wins, 104 pole positions. Crazy.
Well, you know what? Despite Max's and Red Bull's, for that matter, dominance the past couple of years, the sport has really. Is it a bit of a golden age we might be getting? I know it's the end of the. You can say that at the end of any of the specifications, right? But it feels like maybe not a golden age, but we're in a bit of a golden moment, perhaps, right now.
Racing is cool.
Cool. Absolutely. But in my opinion, like on the depth of talent, the athleticism of these drivers, the concentration, where without some technical difficulties, nearly everybody's finishing these races. When there's the occasional Perez, unfortunately, and Logan Sargent crash, but but overall,
that's something else we even missed, the little bang ups in the rear there at the start.
But overall, these drivers are incredible. I think on depth, this is one of the best seasons. On basis of talent, this is one of the best F1 fields that we ever had.
When you kind of put in context that Bottas is just kind of hanging out in the rear with Kick, like Bottas is he's a champion, like he's won stuff before, right? But he's just like, I'm just gonna semi-retire here with Kick, Sauber, whatever you want to call me this year. No big deal. But anyways, here are the constructor standings. Red Bull still up there 71 points ahead because Ferrari continues to slip. I mean, I'm surprised they're still in second. 302 points. McLaren at 295. Mercedes they're starting to claw back, 221. Now, with Perez not scoring points, with one of the Ferraris, Charles mostly, not scoring points lately, it's a gap. It's obviously a pretty big gap there. We're looking
but do you know what the problem is? Look, there's one constant that is always up there fighting for P1 and P2, and that is Max.
Yes, and now he's not getting P1 every weekend, but you're getting like 2 3s, 2 4, 3 4 of McLarens.
Yeah, but
they still got to watch out.
But also, it's like McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari are taking points off of each other as well, which is helping Max. Still,
is. It
like
still is.
that is kind of still good. So it's a race by race basis on what is helping him or not. And yeah, that gap is kind of big still, like the
But
71 points
but
that he
know
has.
that Max
Yeah.
isn't getting 26 points every single weekend now.
No, but the Ferrari has to get I don't know, a P2 and P3 to
Sure.
yeah, for example.
Or McLaren just overtakes him and keeps on pounding them. It's only 7 points back.
Let's see, man. It's exciting. I don't even think about the championship honestly, because the races are so spectacular right now. I don't even care how the
I care. I
championship
need to hold on. Second best.
Oh, dude, I want everybody to win it except of Max. Like, trust me, you know, like, whose fan I am. But but honestly, for me to have a season that is so close race to race, it's incredible. The past races we had were won and combined. All the races, position 1 to P2 were 5 seconds margin from the first one to the second place car. Crazy, man.
Yeah, so here now on the driver standings, Leclerc, a couple bad weekends, now concedes to McLaren. So, of course, Max, then you have McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, Perez at 118. Now, this is where it gets interesting again.
By the way, saved by the Russell DNF, because Russell would have passed him as well.
Saved by the Russell DNF, which would have changed quite a bit here. Again, week to week. But Russell, 7 points behind Perez now at 111. Hamilton at 110. 1 point between the two and climbing.
That's crazy. Hamilton made a full-on, like, 25 points, like, good on them. Crazy.
And all this talk about always going to Ferrari. Has he given up? Does he still have what it takes?
No,
Is he
man.
too old? Blah, blah, blah. Let's go.
If he has a car to fight with, he's still incredible. Trust me. Trust me. If you give him a proper car like he had today or last race in Austria, this is the Hamilton, like, on his peak performance. If you give him the proper car, trust me, he will get you the W's.
And then just like a bit of a shout out here, Lance Stroll, for all the shit that he gets, he's still holding on to 10th.
Yep.
Look at this guy. I mean, Hulkenberg coming in hot, 22. Yep. So even, and this is something we don't necessarily see down the order, is people picking up points, keeping things tight down here,
and
except
Dave,
these few guys.
Our guy, Ollie Behrman, that has already a seat for next season, still P14 in the championship, man. He drove one race.
Slowly slipping down, but yeah. And again, like if Sainz had those extra, well, what have he gotten 6 points or 8 points, right? That would have made things a little bit more interesting there between Sainz and Leclerc, only 4 points away from each other. That would have changed everything right there too. So we don't know. We just don't know every weekend at this point, and that's why we're loving it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dash, reel us in. What did we miss?
Nothing. I think we just got to go over. We got 2 things we got to cover before we shut off. We've got to do the winners and losers of the week, and then the F1 trailer.
Absolutely. All right. So we didn't miss anything. Dash is there checking the books as the 2 Daves go off the rails. So biggest losers, biggest winners.
I think is this going to be a unanimous winner? I think Hamilton, Hammer time.
In my opinion, yes.
It's kind of, it has to be.
Even if you're not a Hamilton fan, I think just on the storyline, just on the storyline to see him still be like being able to drive on his best when everybody said, oh, he's washed and everything. And today he showed his tire management, his speed and everything is still on point. He overtook Russell on track and he kept that lead. He lost it, granted, to the McLarens when the McLarens were quicker on the slippery track. But in my opinion, Hamilton was today and the best one in control of his car. And he absolutely deserved also the driver of the day.
I would extend it a little bit past Hamilton. I got to give it to the team. The fact that Russell got the DNF, and maybe you can blame that on the team. It's hard to know, right? Was it just a catastrophic failure of a part? Did a mechanic forget to tighten down? And who knows? But other than that, just Mercedes. They showed up today, this weekend. They showed up this weekend.
Banging job.
Yeah.
2
Otherwise,
weekends in a row.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're on the up and up.
Yeah.
An honorable mention maybe for Max starting fourth, getting to second at the end of the day with that late charge. But no, you got to give it to Hammer Time.
And Hulkenberg also honorable mention.
Yeah,
Dude,
again,
crazy.
I think you guys are gonna hate me for my loser of the week. I think it's gonna be Lando. I think Lando was too aggressive, and then also extending it to McLaren too, which is to me it's interesting, right? Lando has had opportunities to win these races, but for somehow there's just two split decisions away.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah. And again, when you're looking at the overall team aspect of it, was it Lando or was it the team calls? Like, yes, it's a bit of Lando.
It's a bit of it, right? Because more so
would even and mine would have been McLaren, so I will spoil mine.
Okay, so on the same topic.
Because I think McLaren's strategy costed the race for both drivers. Piastri was, for example, the faster driver, and he had the medium left. So if he came, if they just imaginary right now, imagine they had switched the pit strategy from Norris towards Piastri. I think Piastri would have won this race because he was number one, the fastest car on track, the whole race from start to finish. He was quicker than Norris. He was 4 tenths behind Norris, and that's why he had to do the 1 lap more. But imagine the roles reversed. He would have gotten that pit stop, and he came out in front of the other guys, and he was the guy to chase down Hamilton. And if he didn't have that 4.5, it's not ifs and buts, but if he had the proper strategy, at least one of the McLarens would have won this race because they were clearly the fastest car, in my opinion.
I think they should have. I don't even think they would have. I think they should have.
This is, I want to say, the third time in 4 races where the question was, should Lando have won it?
Yeah.
Because the reason why I kind of want to extend a little bit to Lando's, I think Lando was being way too aggressive for his own good.
Yeah.
Because it's just even at the end, right, with the softs, all he had to do was just cruise a little bit, just keep pace with Hamilton, and then just wait for the right time to push forward, right? But it seems like he's just too aggressive now.
We said, this goes back to our previous episodes too, where it's like he has to learn how to be a winner. Yeah. He's always been like a 6th place, kind of driver. Now all of a sudden he's a 1-2.
The occasional podium, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to race.
Absolutely.
Racing in the front row is completely different than racing in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs that time on.
Yeah. And also, what is a differentiator, in my opinion? Who were the 2 teams that took the best strategy decisions today? Red Bull and Mercedes.
Half of Red Bull and Mercedes.
Half of Red Bull, yeah, but it was also kind of down to Perez's track position that they had to experiment. What do you have to gain? No, but
sure, but
the strategy with Max and with both Mercedes, the double stack, the laps they came into the pits, the tires that they put on, from start to finish, Red Bull with Max, like you specified correctly, and the Mercedes were the best package, but on car the McLaren was faster. But ironically, it's the 2 teams that had the closest championship battle in the history of F1. So I think this was again a case of iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. And McLaren has to get to that stage to have that experience. In both of these teams have title winning experience, race winning experience, and McLaren has to still get there, in my opinion. McLaren is kind of right now in the ballpark of Ferrari, where they have to go above that to reach those new heights, basically that next level.
Yeah, maybe McLaren more on the racecraft and Ferrari more on the race strategy, perhaps. So that's going to get into my biggest loser. I want to go all the way down to the 14th to Leclerc. When you're talking about on the race day, you know, from 11th going to 8th, almost getting 7th, finishing in 14th. Only by the last lap, he was in 15th for most of it. Yeah, he had a horrible day, but a horrible weekend. And the biggest loser has to go to Perez. Nothing went right the whole weekend. Once again,
it's crazy.
Once again, right from qualifying into the race.
By now, I don't even know if it's just his confidence is gone, if the car like went completely away from him, like developmental wise. It's crazy, and honestly, it's sad to see because he's one of the most likable drivers in my opinion. He's a great character, like in the paddock as a driver. He's a great driver. He has similar strengths to Hamilton with his tire management and everything. But you don't see it anymore. And I don't know if he lost it because his confidence is gone, which happened to Ricciardo as well, because Ricciardo challenged Max Verstappen and they were on par in the Red Bull, for example. Yeah. And I don't know if it's a similar story to that one or what happened to him. For me, it's unfortunate, man. I just hope that he gets the hold of it somehow before it costs him his job.
The reason why we're not as disappointed with his performance this year is because we want to see a constructors title fight. That's probably it. Like otherwise, it's a travesty the fact that he's not performing. But yes, as a neutral perspective fan, where you just want to see everything tight, it's actually insane that there's like a first place driver and a no points driver going at it at the same time.
Yep. And also just to add one more point or one more stat, which we also mentioned last week, Max has already used one more engine than the other ones. So he will get also at some point in the next races, he will get a 10 place grid penalty, whereas the others don't need to. And with the performance that the McLarens and the Mercedes made up on him, it's not going to be a cakewalk for him to pass from. Even if he gets pole position, he starts in P11. But it will not be a cakewalk anymore like it has been the past 2 seasons for him to go through the field like it's the F1 game on level 0. Difficult.
Nice. And just before we close this off, you can make a couple honorable mentions. A DNF and a no finish and a no start. Russell and Gasly. They're also
Alpine,
losers.
Man, dude, it's crazy to me how inconsistent they are, man.
They're the best.
One race they get both cars into Q3, and the next race, like what were their starting position? 17th and 12th. Oh, man, I don't even know. It's crazy.
Let's see.
Both were out in Q1. I remember that one.
18, 19. There's.
You see?
Yeah,
crazy, man.
That was starting grid. So sorry if we go to qualify.
And by the way, we have to mention this is a damn factory team. They are building their engines and their own chassis and their own aerodynamics.
Looks like they're done building engines.
Yeah, it looks that way, and they should be, because if you're building crap at some point, it costs you more money than it helps you winning stuff.
And Toto's like, yeah, I mean, you can take Aston's allocation of engines for next year because they're going to Honda.
Yeah, dude. So. For Mercedes, Mercedes is still making their change on it, so why not?
Yeah. Their engines are good. I mean, look at Mercedes and McLaren right now fighting it out towards the top now. Obviously, more than just the power unit, but that's a lot of it. So, yeah, go Mark. You won't suck as hard. And maybe not just like blow up on the formation lap. They're so easy to not like. Dude, man, I don't know.
The Alpines, it doesn't matter to what engine they're gone. It will be an upgrade. I'm sorry, but it's just that way.
Okay, so we know who the winners and the losers are. Now, there's another one that we're going to speculate. Is this a winner or a loser? Dash, did you watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer.
Okay, so we all watched the trailer. We all did our homework.
You got to see Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, the new F1 movie. It was released. The trailer was released this weekend. For a year from now. So if you remember from last year, they were doing some filming at Silverstone.
And they announced it again.
Yeah, same weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if the actual release date is on the Silverstone weekend once more.
Yeah,
but the trailer,
the summer, and the movies, the big movies are. It's the movie summer. There's a reason it's called the movie.
Silverstone's the summer, obviously, right now, July. So we'll see. I'll be interested to see if they line it all up. But regardless, The trailer,
Co-produced by Lewis Abbott, by the way.
Yeah, actually, that is true. And Jerry Bruckheimer's the director. Basically, because he was interviewed afterwards, he's like, "This is gonna be like Top Gun, but the cameras are even better. They're even smaller. We got 14 of them on the car, and they can even move independently." He was just like jacking up the cameras that they were using. So that sounds cool, because they did an amazing job on Top Gun. So I would only imagine that it would work well on F1 as well. But the trailer, it's about 1:42 thereabouts. Check it out on YouTube. Pause. Go check this out if you want to. I was excited. I mean, it's F1 content. It's Brad Pitt, Jerry Bruckheimer. I was excited. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
So you're kind of the same, because I turned it on and then I don't know. I was excited, man, because everybody said, "Oh, this will be the best and most realistic F1 movie," and now I have a basis of.
I don't know if there's a storyline.
Is it realistic because like the actual drivers are in it? Because like I saw Verstappen, I saw Perez, I saw Sainz, like I saw them there. Could you imagine though, like how it would feel if you're Max Verstappen and then you're like in this movie and then like they kind of make you as kind of like the guy that gets beat in the movie? Like
we don't know. We don't know if that's what actually happens.
I'm assuming Brad Pitt's character wins.
Maybe he just crashes out and tumbles 25 times into a wall.
I doubt that.
I don't know. So we'll I have couple of problems with it. So the first scene of those 1 minute and 42 seconds is Brad Pitt having a dialogue with a lady there. I don't know if manager or
who is that,
or his fiance, wife, or girlfriend or whatever.
I bet you they're not going out, but she's like the engineer or strategist, and they end up falling in love or something stupid.
But look, this is, I guess, supposed to be a movie to get people into F1, kind of like Drive to Survive. So maybe I shouldn't be this nitpicky about it. But the first dialogue immediately, hey, those teams, and he mentioned McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, blah, blah, blah. They are quicker on the straight, so you have to make up the time in the corners. Brother.
We got to get a battle ready, is what he said.
Yeah, but man, that is already my problem, because these teams are like cornering speed is their forte, man.
Yes, the one thing that they do
specialized in on their cornering speed, and the difference is having maybe a straight line speed advantage to overcome those problems. If you have a car that is great in the corners, or that is your plan, then you have to overcome that with straight line speed. You have to go the other way, my brother Brad Pitt.
That being said, let's look at, I mean, we'll do still photos of them, but some of the camera angles that they're getting, because I think we've determined that there probably isn't much of a storyline to it. I'm gonna guess it's the typical new guy coming into a team where there's an old guy that's past his prime.
Oh, Dave, it's the F1. What was the story?
Career mode. The career mode. Breakpoint. Yes.
Yeah, breaking point. Thank you, Dashman. You learn quickly from the game.
I try.
And look, the problem is, look at those images. Every single.
Okay, here we go. Alonso, Carlos, Charles. I think that's Lance. A little bit further back.
And that is my problem, that there's such a big difference in between the pictures that are simulated and what is real. So every single recording that is in Silverstone, of course, was recorded actually, but every other track that they showed us is from a racing simulator, and it looks horrible. And it's not even the actual cars. This one is the Red Bull mock-up car, for example. This is a simulation shot. Now, I don't know if they will actually film.
Oh, is that Eau Rouge?
That is Eau Rouge, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Belgium Grand Prix there. Spa-Francorchamps, for those that don't know, but yeah.
Exactly. And my question is, will they actually film on those tracks as well? Is this just a filler shot that is there? Or will they actually put
No, I think there's 4 or 5 races that they're featuring. If I remember from, I don't know, the media earlier in the year.
Because hey, if I go to the cinema and I'm watching a sim race live, I'm disappointed, man.
I mean, you can just watch me drive.
I think what the right.
Yeah,
I think what they'll do,
that-
they'll do one at the beginning, one in the middle, and then maybe like the 2 at the end of the season.
Also, this one also a simulator shot. Simulator shot for dude. It looks like the F1 game.
Obviously, with higher quality textures in there, it's not as bad.
I was gonna say you're giving EA Studios way too much credit.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying like the gaming footage, but the trailer footage you can do, like the trailers that you are cutting, you can of course do beauty shots and everything on those. But
you got it. There you go. That's what we want to see. Goiter flipping someone off.
Goddamn Steiner will carry this movie, man.
Okay, so obviously somebody's engine is gonna blow up.
Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna lie. When I was first watching,
by the way, why did they choose the poor Williams there to have the engine blow up, man?
Was
they probably paid them like, will you allow us to show you the car blow up?
Was that the Williams car?
Yeah,
the one with the engine blow up. Yeah, that is the Williams car, and yeah, you see it from behind. It's you see.
Oh, that's so funny. Williams. Hey, they wanted realism.
Yeah, so
I got to give it to that.
Williams.
the fact that they've licensed this much, it might just be a massive commercial.
Yeah,
that could be all this is.
I think the FIA has like a huge hand in this.
In my opinion, this is a Drive to Survive as a movie.
But, yeah, it's basically the fictional version of it.
It will bring fans to the sport, and I'm not opposed to that.
That's okay, I suppose.
I think this is like secretly. I think this is FIA propaganda.
Oh, this is
not
yes.
FIA. No, it's not FIA propaganda. It's the Formula One management.
Formula One. Yeah.
They're managed by
powers
FIA,
to be.
Right? Yeah, that's
the FIA is just the rules maker, and the FIA is licensing the name towards the F1 group. But the F1 group is the owner of Formula One. The FIA is basically just the rule maker.
I gotcha. Yeah, but it's
all the licensing rights and everything is with Formula One, which is owned by Liberty Media. So they have the.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because, like, for example, if you look at all the branding that's on this video, like, I guarantee you, this is all 100% Formula One doing
so much branding. Like even Shark Ninja here, right? Like Expensify on the helmet. Bell, like.
Well, if you looked at the still shot of the Mercedes, like if you go back, like the amount of branding that was on the Mercedes towards like the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So like
let's go find that again.
It was like where it had it from the nose. It was one of those camera angles.
The nose shot. Okay, let's try to click through. But yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, coming here into these nose shots. Yep.
Like the branding on even on the Halo as well.
Yeah, Tommy, Shark Ninja. But I mean, that is realistic, technically.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. That's not my problem. I think what they
have done, like EA Sports, Geico,
like personal sponsors of F1, some personal sponsors of the teams are on there. So it is talked through with the teams and with the Formula One management. So it will be like for F1, it will be a great movie to portray the sport and to get people into it. I'm not doubting that. It is just I'm nitpicky because of the F1 nerd that I am basically, but I also don't want to gatekeep, and it's a great opportunity for people to get into it.
It'll be fun, but I think you have to lower your expectations.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun for a casual. I don't think it'll be fun for like a wizard.
Watch it for the videography, not the acting.
Yeah, watch it for the story, like wrestling.
Right. I do want to point out, look the size of those side pods.
Yep.
They must be a draggy car. That's why they're so good in those corners, right?
David, it's a battle. He's gonna have a battle.
Please tell him to take some drag away and go for the straight line speed, man. But also, Dave, there have been cars with 0 side pods, and they have been draggy as well. So.
No, we know. It was the Mercedes, right?
The Mercedes,
yeah.
For 2 years.
So, anyways,
for 2 years, because of arrogance, they didn't go away from that concept.
Good for them. And now all of a sudden they figured. It's just funny how that happened. So yeah, we figured it out. It was this doohickey right here. We switched.
We should have gone away from this.
So God said, "Hey, put some side pods on that car and we'll go fast." And Toto said, "All right, I do this time." And you see.
Toto. The guy gets 2 race wins in a week, man. Like He's not going to shut up now.
He's. I know he was like the most featured guy this entire race too. Like you could see Toto even like when they're getting ready to do
he's
the
the main character, man. He's the mamain character. But have you seen after the last race when Russell won it, he gave an interview and said, "Yeah, 100% Lewis will win the one this season." And exactly 1 week later, here we are.
Is it scripted?
Oh, 100% F1 is scripted. Absolutely. Remember 2021?
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this, German Dave. Did the end of this race, the final lap, give you 2021 vibes with Hamilton leading and Verstappen chasing?
I'm not gonna lie. My heart rate was at 112 during those laps.
112 is the percentage that you have to change from intermediates from slicks.
Yep. 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 No, because I actually like my heart was honestly like racing it. I looked at my Apple Watch. Oh, 112, crazy.
Yeah,
dude, I was so nervous. I thought, man, they will crash and everything will go up in flames again and whatever. But in the end, it was a bit less dramatic than
I was thinking it was like one of those things, right, where it's just like Marty McFly from Back to the Future. Wait, I've seen this before, and you just flash back to that.
It was Vietnam flashbacks all over again.
Jesus Christ!
I was man. There. Dude, honestly, we talked about the Euros in Discord, and for example, 2006 versus Italy was a heartbreaker for me, but I was still kind of young there. To get beaten in 2010 by Spain was a heartbreaker, but this past weekend losing against Spain in the 119th minute is a heartbreaker. But I swear to God, nothing has hurt me more than that finish of the 2021 season. I'm honest about it. That is my biggest like the biggest pain I ever got from sport. And dude, it will forever haunt me, man.
He's still triggered. There's so many things that you were triggered about. We had like a triggered conversation before we started this podcast. He was so happy about Max and just like so upset that Germany's out of the World Cup. Guys, I'm the only one with a team in this whole competition.
The crazy thing is, I'm not as down, man. I'm proud of my team. Y'all are trying to trash me in Germany, man. I'm still proud of them.
Why are you? I guess when you're used to losing, you're proud of them for showing up.
That's Juve fans right now.
Right,
Stop.
right.
I was talking about like the whole. I mean, going back to the 10s and the 40s.
So
all the time.
So 4 World Cups and 3 Euros is bad.
Yeah, I mean, you lose some, you win some, but when you lose, you're like, yeah, I mean, we'll come back in another like 18 years and try this again.
Italy. I'm just saying, babe, I don't know about that, man. Italy might take a while. Them Italians got to start popping out some kids and have like Project Mbappe's tie balls to their feet or something.
This is why we need Zaniolo, because he has lots of children.
He's going to
dude, do you know who has a lot of children with all
he's going to Atalanta.
Yeah,
do you know that?
He's going to Atalanta because they're selling coop miners to you guys. Let's not get into the footy talk too much. We're going to have to save that for Wednesday.
That's Wednesday.
Okay, a bit of a teaser.
Wednesday. It's a little bit
just the actual guy with a lot of children is Phil Ford, man. The man is 24 and he has already 3 or 4. Crazy, man.
That he knows of, yeah.
Guy's got a fuck ton of libido.
Well, he's
horny as a rabbit.
He's really going to be able to do it up with those. They're provincial girls, I guess. Like, it's not quite Milan. It's like 45 minutes outside of Milan. So he's going to have to hit up like the secondary income honeys now.
Nah, I tell Bergamo girls are the best girls. Like they're not hipster mainstreams like the Milanese. I mean, Bergamo's like the state that it's in, but get himself a nice Bergamese girl.
All right, we'll talk about Zaniolo and all those guys on Wednesday.
To Piedmont. Go to Piedmont. Get himself a nice Turin girl. Wow. Even though I don't know if people actually live in that city.
Yes, like 100,000 people or something. Anyways.
No, we're stepping into the hornet's nest, man.
I know.
Hornet's nest. Okay, guys, that was
Wednesday.
That was
Wednesday.
Silverstone. Yes, Wednesday. We have 2 weeks until the next race.
Waith?
The next weekend.
The next title. I can picture now the next title for the Tinfoil Hat Show. Does Zaniolo have a lot of sex? Does Phil Foden know how to pull out? Find out more on the Wednesday Tinfoil Hat Show.
Okay, I can get into a Greenwood joke too, guys. Footy Wednesday. This
just
was
beat
the
that one.
Silverstone weekend. Beat what?
Yeah, the Greenwood joke. You just beat that one pretty hard.
Just beat it. I'm just trying not to react to any of the allegations.
No drag on that joke. The aerodynamics on that one was really good.
Guys, you must be a saint if you've listened this far down into our, I don't even know what you call this.
Or your Verstappen's mechanic last week took that long to bust a nut off. So one of the two.
The guy with the dreadlocks? Which one?
Yes.
Everyone knows that guy. Anyways, not just about us now that we're talking about Max's
mechanic
busting a nut.
Couldn't get the leg nut off.
I'm taking it all and go for it, guys.
Oh, I see you. The back left nut taker. Yeah.
The back left nut taker. Who else?
That was the one. That guy. Yeah. All right. Let's hit this music because this is, my God, guys. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, let's get that leg nut off. All right.
Sorry for those last 5 minutes.
Oh, we made it. We had fun.
We managed our tires we managed our time as well as Lando Norris managed his tires. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we switch off to the medium hards to some soft slicks now, and we shall see you Wednesday.